Hello friends, welcome to the Pado India editorial discussions. In this channel, we will discuss the editorials from the Times of India, Hindustan Times, the Indian Express, the Hindu, the Economic Times, as and when they are relevant for the UPSC examination. The probable questions will be discussed, and the handwritten notes of the editorials will be available on the Telegram channel free of cost. The pictorial for the day is from the Hindu, which is on Jamal Khashoggi's death, who is a Saudi dissident. The version of the Jamal Khashoggi death given by the Saudi Arabia does not add up. This is what the author tries to say. He says that according to Saudi Arabia, a rogue general means one who is not listening to the orders from the kingdom. He sent a 15-member team to confront Khashoggi. Inside the consulate, a fight erupted between Khashoggi and the security men where they killed him. This is the official story given by Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. His body was handed over to the collaborator. And they are saying that Saudi Arabia is saying we have arrested 18 people. Trump has said it is a good first step. The kingdom is trying to distance Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and they are saying that he is unaware. The author says it is difficult to imagine that a rogue general carried out this because the country was Turkey. It is not a very friendly nation, and any such action in such a country would require consent. And Mohammed bin Salman, on the other hand, is too powerful to be unaware of things. He also adds up that why did it take them a fortnight to explain this story? If a rogue operation would have gone bad, they would have declared it at that moment itself. They revealed the story only after Turkish officials leaked out to the media that Khashoggi had died. So now this led to the Western allies to demand that what happened to Khashoggi. Now the thing is that the world wants to know what actually happened. Now USA has its own interests with the Saudi Arabia as well, and the interrogation or the probe which is going on right now is handled by Saudi Arabia. The world is demanding an impartial probe, which can only be through an international probe. Now, sorry turf battle on independent payments regulator. This is similar to the one we had discussed yesterday. Now, just the specifics of the note are given clearly. Regulation of the banking system and payment system by the same regulator provides synergy. This will improve the cost of regulatory compliance, seamless implementations of the rule, and expertise of the RBI. The issue in this is that the finance ministry is thinking of setting up an independent regulator outside the purview of RBI for the payment and settlements architecture in India. The next article is The Judiciary's Me Too Movement. It is by Gautam Bhatia. It is he is a very renowned scholar in this area. He says that this is an opportunity to ensure that the defamation law is no longer used as a tool for harassment. He cites it because it is being misused, according to him, in the MJ Akbar case, the Aloknath case, where they both have been accused of sexual harassment and they have filed defamation charges. In Rafael deal, we can also see this, but he is restricted to MJ Akbar and Aloknath. He says that the violence is the last refuge of incompetent, that MJ Akbar and Aloknath are doing mental torture to women because they cannot do anything else right now and filing cases to prevent harm to themselves. He says that defamation is the first refuge of the powerful. This is a predictable response. They are leveraging criminal defamation as a law, as a way of striking back. He's saying that there should be a balance between freedom of expression and the right to reputation. According to him, it is done by the defamation law, which is used to strike the balance. But the shape of the defamation law decides what the outcome will be. But he says that in India, the law is a colonial relic made by the Britishers, and it was made to be a weapon to stifle free voice. Defamation in India is a criminal and a civil offense. Therefore, if criminal proceedings will be done against a person, there will be a social stigma attached to it. There will be a potential jail time, and the threshold is very low. The person can be offended at a very low level. Accused has multiple defenses open, but it is only after the proceedings begin, judicial proceedings begin. The accused can be saved if she says that the statement was true, it was in public interest, or it was in good faith, or it was concerning a public question. These are available only after the trial commences. Before that, the person is so much stigmatized and tortured that, and before that also, he is taken to court so many times that in itself is a punishment. So, in the civil defamation case, if the statement is true, the person can be saved. But in the criminal defamation proceeding, the accused has to show that his statement was true and in public interest. So, even if your statement is true and it is not in public interest, you will still be charged. Now, he links it with the Me Too movement and says that earlier we could not express or simply the Me Too movement has given a chance to women to express what they could not express earlier. But the criminal defamation is being used as a weapon to stop women from expressing themselves or presenting the ordeals. So he says that it is a opportunity for change because the law is being misused. The relationship between the legal system and the social movement for empowering the women are now at loggerheads with each other. More than 50 years ago, according to the author, the situation was same in America, where there was the American civil rights movements, where they were focusing on the rights for immigrants, for the blacks. It was actually a right for equality movement there. And at that time, there was a New York Times versus Sullivan. Sullivan accused the New York Times of, bringing down his reputation. So what actually happened in that case was the law was diluted, the defamation law, so that it cannot be misused. Now he says that our courts are faced with a similar situation. A very important public movement is threatened by the heavy law of defamation. They may, for one, choose to revisit constitutionality of the criminal defamation. What he's trying to say is they may either say whether it is constitutional or not. But even if they do not do it, they can bring out new ways to judicially interpret the Section 499 of IPC in such a manner that it cannot be used as a tool to blackmail, harass, and silence the freedom of speech, which is done for social change. Now, next is ripe for prison reform. The political will is crucial to reform India's criminal justice system. The Supreme Court has formed a committee with Justice Amitav Chaudhary, former justice. Earlier in 1980s, A.N. Mullah Committee and Justice Krishna Iyer Committee had been formed to make sure that the prison conditions are in tune with human rights norms. The basic question is whether we punish somebody to punish him or for reform, and whether the justice system is retributive or reformative. So he says that we are wreaking vengeance. The Hammurabi Code was in 1754 BC in the Babylonia civilization, where they had written that an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. He has given the example of convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi case. He says that those who are pleading for clemency are outnumbered by popular sentiments. They are, he means to say that their term is over, but the government is not letting them go. This accounts, and he is also giving the next. He has moved to the prison reforms. He says that the people are reluctant for reforms in this area because there is a confusion whether our judicial system is for reforming or punishing. The non-prison alternatives such as community services are missing because of this confusion. The capacity of the government is less and no more prisons are being built where as there is a need because they are overcrowded in the USA also and in India. In India, he says that 4.2 lakh inmates are there. Most of them have an occupancy rate of 114% and 67% are under trials. Under trial means अभी case चल रहा है, फैसला नहीं आया. So they are not proven that they are convicts. And sometimes they spend more time because trials may take 20 years and he may be accused of stealing 10 rupees or 20 rupees. So he might end up spending 20 years in jail till the time because he may not be able to pay the bail. While public officials and social workers agree on the need to reduce overcrowding, There is no convergence how to go about this exercise. More energy has been spent on debate rather than doing action. So, he has given a special mention of white collar crimes, where he says that to reduce them, the non-violent offenders could be treated differently. But ये बोलता है कि इसके against हूँ मैं, because white collar crimes are growing. They might do cases of thousands of crores of rupees. So they cannot be said कि we will treat you differently and just take your money. It is not such a small crime that they will not be given imprisonment. Only taking off their money is not a good solution. On prison officials, he says that they have become brutal and venality of the prison officials because there is not a lot of money given in this. The next article is understanding the concept of special category status. He says that the people of Andhra Pradesh have understood the special category status as also including industrial incentives in the northeastern states. Basically, he's trying to say that people have been confusing. He says the special category status and the tax holiday schemes are different. One was started in 1969 and another in 1997. When former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had announced it for the Andhra Pradesh, they understood it as the industrial incentives also being applied in the same. He says that the industrial incentives are mentioned in the Andhra Pradesh reorganization bill and made to available for both. Hence, assuming that there will be a tax holiday available as it was in the Northeast, and not getting is an incorrect understanding of the facts. Now, the second thing he says that is there a special category status existing now? He says that the 14th Finance Commission has done away with this concept. At present, the northeastern states are getting this finance based on the recommendations of Committee of Ministers who had worked on the rationalization of center sector schemes. And industrial incentives are given by Industries Department, not by the special category status. So now he says that the issue is being politicized by the Andhra Pradesh government because the government the government had appealed to the state government, central government had appealed that please set up a special purpose vehicle and then we will give you more incentives. But the state government did not set it up. So this is not a fault of the center. This is what the author has to say. An agenda for energy. India needs to bring structural changes, reset targets, influence global policy and choices. He says that we need energy to grow and the consumption determines the average output per person. Higher the consumption, higher the productivity. He says that earlier traditional societies were based on biomass. Biomass are less dense fuels. Less dense fuel means they have lesser calorie content per kg. So in India, the ratio today is 30% of the biomass fuel. As we have given electrification to all the households, the this will further reduce. We might in China it is 5% right now. So he says that India's energy needs will rise, and the imports have rose from 21% in 2000 to 36% by 2015, and by 2040 it will be almost 50%. The imports. He says that the import bill could be up to $660 billion even if the oil prices are moderate. He says that there is no major problem because of this, but it might lead to a current account deficit because we have to pay it in dollars. He says that the size of the economy will be large, but the availability of dollars will be the question. The main reasons he is citing is slowing of the foreign capital inflows. Capital inflows have fallen to 2002 levels as what it is today. Export has slowed, and he says that reforms are required in capital inflows, grow domestic energy production, increase efficiency, and also accelerate transition to more domestic sources of energy. He says that there is a need for freeing up energy pricing, not just in electricity but also in coal and gas. The country needs to move away from taking coal, that is raw material, to energy production sites. Rather than doing that, we need to transport more energy because it is cheaper, easier, and less wasteful. The ambition on solar and wind power needs to be reset substantially upwards. Even if we continue on the same rate, the total demand met will be 4% by 2040. He says that there is a need to replan the grids because there is variability in the renewable sector, and pulling weight on global forums, because we will be driving one fourth of the energy demand in the globe. The law will not hold. This is a criticism of the UAPA Act, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The things he wants to say is under the UAPA, the pre-charge sheet custody can be extended from 60 to 90 days to 180 days, and the police does not have to produce any evidence till that time. So this justifies the custody. The UAPA restricts the right of the accused to uh, to be released on bail, and if the court comes to a conclusion that the person might have committed the offense, then the bail will be inapplicable for him. This law ensures that the conviction is not required for punishment, whereas the general rule is that nobody should be punished without doing the crime. Hence, the presumption of guilt is on the accused. On the other hand, it is a person is innocent till the time he is proven to be guilty. Also, this incentivizes the investigating agencies to plant evidence. They can create evidence rather than finding it. The burden of disapproving the possession of such evidence is based on the accused. For example, the police can plant a gun and say that it belongs to me, and then I will have to prove that this gun does not belong to me. So this is very open to misuse by the police. He says that moreover, the definition of terrorist act is extremely broad. It has used words like likely to threaten, likely to strike terror. So this leaves everything on the discrim. Sorry, this leaves everything on the. This makes the law subjective, and on the discretion of the authorities. At every step of the criminal process, UAPA takes away the rights of the accused, and moreover, the rate of conviction is also slow. The logic was bringing in such a law was to make the conviction rates more in case of terrorist acts. This has not really happened. So he says that this law does not stand the test of time in a democratic country. The next article is from Akbar to Ayappa. Akbar is MG Akbar, not uh, Jalaluddin Akbar, Mughal emperor. He's saying that the both Me Too movement and the Supreme Court have struck a blow against the patriarchal privilege based on sexual control. He says that without women's complicity, the patriarchal project has no future. What he's trying to say is that if women do not agree to succumb to the pressure given by men, then the patriarchy can be broken. Both the Me Too and the Supreme Court verdict on Sabrimala challenge it. Sexual politics has always been about control and power, but one half of the equation is now saying that time is up. It will neither be cast or out or not taking things lying down. Women will have started standing up to the challenge posed by men. This is what he's trying to say. Then is the Raja Mandala, the Great Sunni Divide. These are the editorials from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Now, this is written by C. Raja Mohan. He's saying that Jamal Khashoggi's murder bears up the sharp differences between Saudi and Turkey. USA has its work cut out in resolving the conflict. He says that Turkey has become more demanding and assertive. For Saudi Arabia, it has become equally as a threat as the Iran was. Sunni and Shia divide is there in the Islamic world. So, Saudi Arabia was earlier threatened only by Shia Iran, and Turkey was not a very big competitor, but now it has become so. The author tries to explain why. He says that there are sharp differences between the perspective of Mohammed bin Salman, king of Saudi, and Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is the president of Turkey. They have a disagreement over the idea of moderate Islam. According to Mohammed bin Salman, I'll be calling him MBS. According to MBS, 4 decades following the Islamic Revolution in Iran, there has been an abnormal state of affairs in Saudi Arabia. Tehran wanted to extend the revolution to the Arab world. The House of Saud ceded more ground to the Wahhabi conservatives because it and started extending support to jihadi groups because it wanted to show that we are the leaders of the Islamic world. Now, much of the world has welcomed Saudi reforms, but not everyone is impressed. It was for granted that Iran will not be, but a surprising attack is by Turkey's Erdogan. Erdogan told the crown prince does not own Islam. The term moderate Islam is being lathered up again. He says that Erdogan is rejecting the unofficial but long-standing Saudi claim as the guardian of Islam. If Salman is trying to liberalize the deeply religious Saudi society, Erdogan is turning a secular society into an Islamic one. If Salman has a huge challenge in consolidating his power at home, Erdogan, on the other, has been in power for nearly a decade and a half. The argument between Salman and Erdogan is not only about Islam, it is also about geopolitics. For decades, Turkey has stayed out. Ottoman Empire had collapsed after the First World War. फिर हमारे यहाँ non cooperation movement भी हुई थी. After that, Turkey had withdrawn from the leadership of the Muslim world. Since then, there has been a struggle between Shias and Sunnis. Shia represented by Iran and Sunnis by Saudi Arabia. Turkey was silent up to now and had joined the NATO and was an ally of USA and did not compete for the powership. Initially, Egypt was there, then Egypt also became a US ally. Now, Saudi is also a USA ally, but there is a competition between Saudi and Iran for the leadership. Now, Turkey has become more powerful and it wants back its role. Saudi call it the Erdogan's neo-Ottomanism. Saudi hoped that the resurgent Sunni Turkey could help strengthen the coalition against Shia Iran, but the things have been changed after the Arab Spring. Erdogan is promoting the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is seen by Saudi as a terrorist organization. So this puts both of them at a different level. There are sharp differences between both the countries in Syria as well. And in case of Iran, he says that Erdogan has no love for Iran, but he is also simultaneously competing and coordinating with Iran to put down Riyadh. Riyadh is Saudi Arabia. So he says that this is the whole situation. This is not only because of Islam, but more because of the geopolitics of the area. And this is all for today's editorial classes. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can also join the Telegram group. The link is in the description. Thank you. Didn't suggest